everyone! Shiseido has entered the matte foundation chat with an update on their Synchro Skin self-refreshing foundation. Now, self-refreshment is a concept that I can really get behind because it's probably caffeine and calorie free. The question is this new semi-matte foundation worth it, or is it like those slightly perky and annoying LinkedIn bios I sometimes come across that in the end aren't worth my time and are actually without foundation? Ooh, watch on. This is marketed as a semi-matte foundation, and I thought it would be worth a try on a mature skin, trying the new foundation with the Shiseido primer underneath, only on one half of my face. So let's see what happens. Now, this is meant to give us a bit of glow, but is also meant to be blurring, is for all skin types, and is also an SPF 30, as is the foundation. So it's dual purpose. I'm reading off the thing. It's skin nurturing and it's also tone perfecting. Now, it's got pearlized particles in it, or ground pearls, and so we're going to get apparently a nice soft luminosity but no shine. And as I said, they do reiterate, and they do say it on both on the box and on the website, it is absolutely for all skin types. So even though I'm a very dry and mature skin, hopefully that means it's fine for you if you're not mature and not dry at all. But let's give it a go. Now, but it doesn't really matter which half of my face I use. I can either use the aging half or the decrepit half. So I don't think it makes much difference, does it? Now, we're meant to use a pearl-sized amount. I'm going to put a pearl-sized amount, but obviously I'm only going to use half of it because I'm only going to use half of my face. But let's see what it looks. Oh, it's quite a nice little, I'm being mean on the old pearls. So look, can you see it's got like a tiny little pipette, so that's nice. It doesn't sort of, blob out, which I really hate. That's what it looks like. Let's look at the viscosity just in case, because as you know, I'm obsessed with viscosity. Is it running? No, not really. Okay, so, oh, it is pearlized. Can you see? It's not quite whitening the skin, but well, actually maybe it is, but let's see. Now, I've done my eyeshadow. I haven't completed it, but we'll do that afterwards. But that's why I'm looking sort of a bit more on the odd side of the spectrum of normality. Okay, doesn't smell of anything. Now, I'm very well disposed towards Shiseido. I love their skincare. I really like their mascara, which is a bit of a random thing. You don't tend to see their mascara as kind of marketed, but it is a very nice thickening and sort of uncomplicated mascara. But really, it's their skincare that I'm kind of here for, and I have been for like a really long time. Actually, Shiseido was probably, apart from companies that I worked for early on in my early 20s, Shiseido was the skincare company that I skincare brand that I really gravitated towards as a youngster. And I still use them. I still think they're great. I'm putting quite a decent amount. Let's just see. Because it kind of feels like it's mattifying my skin, but let's have a look. There we go. Okay, so we've got the other half left. I'll just wipe that off. So you can see it has, I'm just a medium skin tone, and it has left a bit of a cast, but it's meant to go underneath. So let's give it the benefit of the doubt. And as I said, it's only one half. Hopefully it'll be clear which half has been with the primer and which has been without the primer when we come and do the wear test. Okay, so that's that. Yeah, as I said, it doesn't really smell of anything at all. So now onto the foundation. I've got to give it a good old shake, so I'll be back having shaken it. Now, I bought this in 350 Maple. Now, I have to say, I'm on my second bottle on the Skin Glow Revital Essence, which I do really like. Having said that, I haven't worn this, I don't think at all this year, just because I got caught up with all the other glowy foundations and falling in love again. But in that, I'm 360 Citrine. However, when I wore this just before ordering the new one, it did seem a little bit grey. Now, it might have gone off. I don't know. I doubt it, but you never know. So to that end, I kind of reassessed on my shade. So let's see. It may or may not be, the right shade. But anyway, so this is the new Synchro Skin Refreshing Foundation. It is also an SPF 30. Let's see, is it running? Oh, it is running. That's good. It says that it refreshes non-stop and protects the skin from the environment for a 24-hour flawless finish. So again, it's got the ambition that all the recent foundations seem to have. It's got active force technology, and it synchronizes with the skin and helps to resist heat, humidity, oil and motion, making some assumptions there as to my fitness levels, with weightless comfort. Medium to full, buildable coverage, natural semi-matte finish, all-day hydration. Let's see. Now I'm going to put this on the side that doesn't have the primer on, just to make sure that I don't pick up any primer sort of on the way, as it were. It's fragrance-free, dermatologically tested, as you would probably expect. No creasing and no dullness of colour. Water and transfer resistant. I hadn't noticed that. That's very exciting, because all the good foundations now are transfer resistant. It's so nice to be able to take a jumper off without worrying. And it does say it is for all skin types. So let's see what it's like for someone of my age and my skin type. So this is a little bit too light, but I think we can still make it work. But let's see if it oxidizes. Let's see. It's gone on really very easily, you know, because I mean, it's kind of spread on my hand, but it hasn't. Yeah, it has. I thought it might go streaky, and the only reason why I thought it might go streaky is as I was putting it on, it seemed to go straight into the skin as opposed to give me a chance to kind of spread it. But actually, I think I'm wrong, and I think it has gone on sort of smoothly. I'm now going to do the other side. I'll put another pump on. It's definitely lighter on this side. Do you think? That's kind of what it seems like to me. Yeah, which means the primer has affected it, which isn't great if that's the case. But let's give it the benefit of the doubt and just get it on. I'm not using too much. I mean, I appreciate it's a medium to full coverage, but I would rather I sort of kept to the medium side of it. But that, I think you can see the difference, can't you? In terms of, what do you think? That seems to me much, much lighter. Okay, I've put the rest of my makeup on. Clearly the shade is too light for me, but also clearly the next shade up is not good for me, and then the ones after get way too golden and yellow, as I said. However, be that as it may, if we kind of ignore the rest of my body and I'm just kind of this floating head, in terms of the finish, let me bring you closer so you can actually have a look and see. Okay, so just to remind you, this is the half with the primer. I don't know whether you see fewer pores on this side. While you're looking, I'll put my mirror here. Yeah, I'm not sure whether that's the case. And actually, is it more glowy or is the finish that different? I'd have to have a really good look in my 10x mirror. So I'll do that while you're looking over here. So let's see. I'm not sure that the pores are actually that much smaller. If I really look again, this is the primer side. I mean, marginally. I suppose the bit that I do find worrying is ignoring my own shade dramas. I don't think it's good that this kind of leaves a cast before you've even put the foundation on, because I don't think that will necessarily do you any favors unless you really want your skin to look as alabaster as possible. Yeah, but in terms of the finish itself, I do like the finish and I like the way it went on. And certainly if you're looking for something that's a semi-matte foundation, this is definitely semi-matte. It's not glowy, you know, and it's not matte, because that is something that on a dry skin, you know, it would just sort of emphasize all my lines, my sort of just the sort of the superficial lines, and mind the crow's feet, but even just the superficial lines. It's not settled in them yet, so we'll do the wear test and find out. But oftentimes when I wear a matte foundation that's clearly not right for a mature skin, that's on the drier side, that's like an immediate kind of thing. I mean, recently I test drove again for the first time in absolutely years the NARS concealer, for example, and instantly it just emphasized every single line that I had, and some that I didn't even realize I had. So, you know, that kind of thing. It's not done that at all. The finish is a nice finish. I'm slightly gutted I can't get the shade. But anyway, I'm going to go about my day and I will check in. It won't be hours and hours this time, just because of the kind of day that I've got. I've got to go and give several people a stiff talking to on the work side. Anyway, let's see, and I will check in and I'll see you shortly. Now, if you ignore the dirty windows and you also ignore the shade, although you probably can't see my neck, so maybe I look a bit more normal than, you know, in real life with all my body showing. This is what it looks like. This is now 6 hours in. You know, it's lasted nicely. It's not gone shiny. It's kind of done the job. It's all about whether you can also find a shade, never mind whether you actually like the finish or not. We're now at the just over 9 hours mark since I applied this. I realised that I have been walking through my entire day wearing the wrong shade of lipstick for the eyeshadows that I had on, which I know is something that you will understand, but I don't think anybody else that I met today would have understood or even noticed. So I'm kind of safe, but not really safe. Anyway, I have put something different on. This is Valeria Rose Gucci, which I really like. But anyway, so let's have a look. I think it's worn pretty well, you know. I mean, I think it's a no for all sorts of reasons for me, but I think it has worn well. Let me bring you in closer. Okay, this is the primer side. I can't tell the difference. And maybe it's one of those things that, you know, I'm pretty good with my skincare anyway, as I'm sure all of you are. So, you know, I don't know. Maybe I didn't actually need a primer for this foundation, but I don't think it's made enough of a difference, frankly, to justify £65, although I think I did get 20% or something off the Shiseido website. But £65 for a primer is quite a lot of money if it does nothing. The SPF is not, for me anyway, is neither here nor there, because I apply the SPF anyway. I mean, to be fair to Shiseido, when they talk about, I think you've probably had enough of looking at me close up, when they talk about the SPF in the foundation itself, they do tell us quite how much we have to use in order to get the full SPF. And of course it's, you know, 1 square centimetre, 2 milligrams of product, which is quite a lot. And I definitely did not get that to get the coverage, but it's just an extra, isn't it? I mean, we're still going to wear our normal SPF underneath anyway. Whether we need it in a primer is another matter. So I suppose my thoughts are the primer is of no use to me, frankly, from an SPF point of view. From a skincare point of view, you know, I'd wear my skincare anyway, so I don't see the point. And more importantly, did it do anything to the foundation? You know, looking at the two sides, I can't say it did. Certainly the pores haven't been blurred. Is there more radiance on this side than there is on this side? Not really. I mean, I don't need more radiance when I'm wearing an already radiant foundation, because that's doing the job. I think the reason for the sort of experimentally that I thought it would be worth using a particularly kind of radiant primer and good for a mature skin, which is actually what this range does compared to the Revitaliscence primer that Shiseido has. And actually that's reflected in the price point, because I think that one's around the £40 mark. And as I said, this one's 65. I think I'm right in saying 65. The whole point of this was, could I add a little bit of radiance to a semi-matte foundation that might make it a bit more palatable for a mature, dry skin, a very mature, dry skin? And actually, I don't think it kind of added anything at all. Now, whether you think this is worth it for a different foundation, that's kind of another matter. But it made, to me, it made not an appreciable difference at all, you know, from the non-primer to the primer side. In terms of the foundation, shade issues aside, and I think that is quite a big deal actually, that Shiseido has kind of got it wrong, in the sense that between the two shades that should be just about my kind of area, that, you know, they're not appropriate, and then it just jumps up to something that's very yellow and very golden. I should say, in the meantime, I did do something sneaky. I was on the way to a meeting, and I did nip into my local John Lewis, and I did have a look at the next shades up, thinking, oh, if there's an obvious shade, I could buy it, bring it and show it to you at this part of the video, to at least sort of say to you, there's another shade. And actually, no, there isn't. It's not good at all. So That's a problem. Now, when you go to much deeper shades, it does look like there's a range there, but I'm in no position to say whether that's going to suit you or not. That's going to be trial and error on your part. But certainly for lighter shades than me, there is a big range. Again, I know it's personal preference, but moving beyond the shade issue, in terms of the finish, it is a semi-matte. It's definitely lasted. And also, I should tell you, I have blown my nose several times and nothing comes, it just doesn't come off. I mean, when we say no transfer, I'll do it for you now. Yeah, I mean, nothing comes off. I mean, that's really good. That's really impressive. So it does what it says on the tin. My skin does not in any way feel dry or tight. And remember, while I had the primer on this side, and this must be, I believe Shiseido, because I just love, and this is why I'm so disappointed actually, I love their skincare. I really rate it. I just think it's fantastic. So I believe them when they say that there's the skincare benefits in here to keep my skin hydrated and so on, and over time it will improve. That I can, that's great. On this side where I didn't have the primer, I just had my normal, at the moment I'm using Rénergie, the HPN SPF 50 underneath. It doesn't feel tight. It doesn't feel, difficult for me to kind of grin as I grin throughout the day and constantly laughing to myself and gurning. None of that. It doesn't feel tight. All of that feels really comfortable. So from the point of view of their claim that the foundation is good for kind of all skin types, as I said, I am a very dry, mature skin and it doesn't feel tight. I would say it's not worn as well on my forehead, but that's partly my, not so much fault, but kind of what's going on with my skin at the moment. I've got this thing that I'm being treated for. And so what that means is I'm not slapping quite the same amount of cream and oils at night. So my forehead is not in as good a nick skin-wise as it ordinarily is, because I'm not using the amount of skincare. It's not getting that same onslaught. Having said that, if I look at my lines, it's still not settled into those lines. So I think that's, from that point of view, I do think this foundation has acquitted itself well. I don't think it's exceptional. I think that's probably what I want to say. And the finish is a nice finish. There's a lot of foundations with a nice finish. I think at this stage we're kind of looking for exceptional. Does it do something over and above, what I would expect maybe the Prada foundation to do, which in my opinion is a far superior finish to this. I mean, this is a different price point, but it's still a good quality foundation. I just think that it compares poorly, for example, with the Prada. And actually, probably in terms of the finish, the NARS matte foundation is probably better. It seems to me. The one that I haven't tried yet that I do want to try is the Louboutin. So I have got it. It's winking at me over there. That'll be the next one to try. But I suppose overall with this one, I would say it's fine. It's not exceptional. I think if you're only going to buy one semi-matte foundation, particularly if you're a mature skin, I think there's better ones to try. I think the Prada one is just a better foundation. I mean, it's just more, the finish is better. Yes, they both last well, but actually that finish is particularly lovely. There is a softness and a kind of a matte quality that still has luminescence, still has life to it, that just can't compare with this one. I am disappointed. I mean, I am. I know I said earlier, I have in the past worn, this is my second bottle, this, which is obviously it's a different foundation, but it kind of, for me, it kind of felt like I was getting the Shiseido know-how and knowledge and kind of that kind of heritage of skincare meets, foundation. I'm not getting that at all. If anything, I have to say, this feels a little bit old-fashioned, a bit dated. It doesn't have that modern matte quality that I have come to appreciate. I mean, even actually with the ABH matte foundation, that does feel to me like very much a modern matte, whereas this feels like a more kind of slightly more traditional. They could have done better. As I said, it feels unexceptional. That's what I would say. And given what we know these brands can do with foundations that have got their own slip and something really sort of exceptional or unusual and kind of worth getting excited about, this isn't it. I'm very disappointed because I really love Shiseido. I really do. And I am very disappointed in this. I'm really quite baffled by this. So that's it. Let me know. Are you a Shiseido foundation person? Which of the foundations have you enjoyed and liked? And have you tried the previous incarnation? Because of course this is a kind of a reimagined, remodernized version of the previous incarnation of the Synchro self-refreshing foundation, so which I didn't try. I should have said that at the beginning. I hadn't tried the previous one, but I was excited to try this because, as I've said before, you know, I do want to find my ideal semi-matte foundation for a mature dry skin. It seems to me that there's good product out there on the market and it's worth my experimenting. This isn't it. I look forward to hearing from you. I really do. Please subscribe and let me know what you think. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye.